Hi everyone. This video now is going to be about a cartoon. It's actually a caricature, which is maybe a little bit more difficult than your straightforward cartoon, but the basics are going to be the same. And before I actually get on with the engraving, I will be showing you on my desktop PC with a bit of a screen recording what I mean by engraving negative and positive. You have to engrave negative in order to produce a positive, especially when you're talking about a cartoon. Your medium is white on black as opposed to black, say, on white paper, black pencil on white paper. These are the basics of glass engraving. So my glass will be this lovely lead crystal plain whiskey glass, seeing it's going to be for me anyway. This is my little caricature. It was drawn when I was working in Egypt. I think it was about 2017, and it was the opening of a very large shopping mall just outside Cairo. And we were sort of part of the entertainment for the opening of this mall. When I say we, myself and several entertainers, and one of them was the caricaturist John Paul McCarthy, who is absolutely brilliant. Now, obviously there's quite a lot of detail, lots of little bits and pieces, including eyelashes, for example. I will initially be showing you a very straightforward black and white version of this, probably just using a diamond. And then perhaps afterwards I will turn it into a more of a shaded 3D engraving, a bit more like the actual drawing. But initially it will be a black and white cartoon, so that hopefully I'll be able to show you how to do it with it, so that you're never confused like so many beginner engravers are. When I started out, I found it incredibly difficult to get my head around the basics of the negative positive idea, and I engraved lots of cartoons before I got it right. Anyway, enjoy the video, and I hope that it really helps.
Rightio, let's start by showing you a basic cartoon. Okay, so you're a beginner, you've put your picture behind the glass, and you're going to trace it onto the glass, because that is what every beginner does. Well, just about every beginner. You've got a diamond in your drill, and you're going to trace onto the glass what you see. Okay, so this is my engraving color, and I am so excited because I'm a brand new engraver, and I am engraving the smiley face on a glass. And it's not difficult, it's really easy. I'm so impressed how easy it is. And there, I'm done. So now imagine if you were to take away the picture, and so you have your engraving on the clear glass. Clear glass is effectively black. So there's our picture, and the first thing you notice, of course, is the fact that this cartoon has white eyes. And that is very ghostly. That is because it is a complete negative. So here we have a positive, dark eyes, and here we have a negative, white eyes. It's the first thing you will notice when you're looking at engraving out there. When you see an amateur engraving, invariably they will have white eyes. And I often see this, for example, in a picture of a golfer swinging a golf club, and he's just got these dots, white dots for his eyes, and it's really quite scary. Anyway, now you've been for an instruction or a little lesson, and you have been taught that you have got to engrave the light. This is important. So, in doing so, you're going to create a positive image. So now I see the white inside my cartoon, and I am not allowed to engrave the dark anymore, so I am engraving only the white. Okay. Let's start by going around the edge here. And around, I'm not allowed to engrave the eyes because they are dark. So I'm tracing around anything that is dark. And as a beginner, you look at this and it looks horrific. And you think, how on earth can this be right? It's horrible. Anyway, you keep going. You fill this in with your engraving only on the light. Now, what you can do is you take away your picture from behind the glass, look at your glass, and the engraving is definitely a positive. We have finally got it right. The eyes are dark, the mouth is dark, the nose is dark, and this is how it looks in the picture that we're copying, and that is so important. Let's go back to the picture. This chap's got a hat on it, and therefore we need to put a hat on. There are different rules for the outside of an engraving, really, and that is, well, if you left it clear, you'll have nothing there. So we're going to give this chap a white hat. Now I don't want the hat to be growing out of his face. If we brought this right down to the bottom, it would look like it's part of his head rather than on his head. So if you leave a gap, we can still give him the edges of the hat like that, and we can still fill it in. This chap's got a white hat on. You could leave it as an outline. That would be okay. No, I don't want that, whatever that is. Let's have a look at this now. There is our smiley face with a hat on. Now sometimes you might feel that because it's outlined, you may want to thicken it up a little bit. There's nothing wrong with that at all. You can take your image right to the outside of the outline, if you like. There you go, something like that. And here we have two positive images. One is the artwork and one is your engraving. Okay, right, let's get on with some serious cartoon work.
So as promised, diamond is what we're going to be working with, and this is a teeny tiny little diamond. Now, as usual, we are very offset, which is so unfortunate in a subject like this. But because I've done that very basic tutorial, you can get the idea, even though you can't see it accurately. You're only seeing what I am engraving offset. You can see some of the lashes in the background, but obviously from where I am engraving over the shape of them. You can see how strange it looks. It's a very, very difficult thing to do when you're starting out. So always make sure that if you're going to engrave a cartoon, pick a very simple one first. So obviously I'm engraving what is light. This has got colours in it, and so I am deciding that, you know, obviously the blue for the eyes, brown hair and the red lips. I'm going to be engraving them as well, but more of sort of a little highlight if you like. Later on, when I do change it to a half-tone image, if I do, I haven't made up my mind yet, then I will really be creating the eyes a little bit more realistically, and they will look the right tone. So the whole process is this map work, the mapping around the shapes, around the lines. And my goodness, I didn't realize how this really wasn't going to be a good one to show you guys because of the offset. It's really quite sad. But unless I have some sort of GoPro, but I can tell you something, even with a GoPro on top of my head, it would still be offset. You've got to have, you know, I would have to have a video inside my eyeballs for you to see exactly what I am seeing. Anyhow, I look like Father Christmas at the moment with a beard. It's I have enjoyed doing this. It's quite an unusual thing to do, a black and white cartoon. I have sped this up to 135% of normal speed. This little diamond I had realized was not quite as sharp as I would like it, because obviously, as you can see, I'm engraving dry. Mainly because it's clearer for you guys to see the shapes that I'm drawing. Oh dear. I hope this is okay for you guys, because it's not looking it's not looking that easy to follow. Oh dear. So just picking up the shapes, the scarf, you know, some of the details I'm not too worried about, but obviously the details of the eyes, the nose and the mouth, it's really important to get them as accurate as possible. And also I am obviously John Paul, I have a lot of respect for him, and I will be putting a link to his name and also signing where his little signature is, tracing his signature onto the glass. You know, so out of respect for the artist, I am trying to keep as accurate as possible to his drawing. I'll probably even send him a copy of this video. I must admit, it's an amazing talent to be able to look at someone and in just a few minutes create a complete cartoon of them. Anyhow, still using the very, very tiny diamond, because if you're just working black and white with the diamonds, you really don't want to make any errors, because we're not doing any rubbing out at this stage anyway. You know, this, as it stands at the moment, is going to be a black and white picture, and it could actually remain that way. So any mistakes and engraving into an area that needs to be clear would be disastrous, really, because even if I was to polish it out, you'd be able to see it. You'd be able to see the difference in tone. So the hair, I am, again, trying to be as accurate as I can, but it's a little bit tricky. Say, for example, where the eyebrows go across the actual fringe, that's a bit tricky. but probably not as important, each individual hair, as the features of the face are. When I take the image away, once I have finished doing all the outlines, you will see it very, very clearly. I scribbled in a little bit there because I made a little error and I wanted to make sure that I don't, that it was going to be clear what I had to do. So my hair was quite a lot shorter then. And I do like the way he gave me a bit of lift in my hair, which I really battled to do. I wonder what product he used. A lot of these, the filling in of this, I will do obviously after I have removed the picture. Then I can see what's going on much clearer. You will notice that I did change to a larger diamond burr. It's always best to use a larger burr when you're engraving or trying to fill in a larger area, unless you particularly want tiny scribbly little textures. I could have even gone slightly larger for the main area of the hair, for example, and maybe the cheeks. But for the purpose of this video, which I didn't want to take too long over, I literally did the entire engraving with 2 burrs. I don't think I used did I use a third burr? I think I might have used a third burr for a tiny feature in the eyes. All diamond. Now you'll notice that all I'm doing for the jacket I was wearing, the black jacket, I am literally giving it a black outline, keeping it as simple as that. And the line across the base, which I was a little bit naughty. I didn't quite level it off, but I'll do that later. This was a little crystal block that I engraved in situ at the Mall of Egypt. I was engraving all sorts of Egyptian images on these little bits of crystal, obviously while people are watching. Now what I should have done here is gone with an even smaller burr, but I was a little bit careless and probably a little bit impatient. Yes, I should have spent more time on the little drill there. Obviously that is a drill in my hand. So simply engraving over John Paul's signature. And now let's see what we've got. A little bit scary, but at least we can see what's going on now. It's interesting how the very, very small burr is not quite as white and bright as the big burr. That very small burr was not as sharp. This is a sharper one. So this is the third one I was talking about. And I was just neatening up and picking up some details of the eyes. You can understand now why someone just starting out, how very, very difficult it is to make a cartoon look right, because this is what you've got to make it look like first. And it's horrendously confusing. So now with the larger burr again, I am filling in the larger areas, referring to the image quite a lot, because even for me it's confusing. You're faced with a road map of all sorts of squiggles, and you can't fill in the wrong one. You've got to make sure you fill in the right areas. If you need to put it back behind the glass to be sure about a space, just do so. I'm going to zoom this out a little bit so that you can see the comparison. Having the little picture there is very important. Refer to it all the time. I'm actually still not sure about the bottom lip, and I am sure I will. I hope I fixed that a little bit. Gosh, I'm not sure if I went back and revisited that bottom lip. It needed to be a little bit thicker, I think. Anyway, plodding along and filling in the areas. It's starting to look a little bit more real now. But you can also see how hugely important it is to get the tiny, tiny, neat details inside the eye. That's really important. If that had been all splodgy and, not much black around it, it would be totally lost. It's like being back at school, making sure that you colouring in within the lines. Or in this case, without the lines. You can see I was hesitant. That bit above the bridge of the nose there, I was looking at another. Oh, I'm not really sure which bit I've got to fill in. So I left that area for a while. Still not sure. Nope, still not sure. You can see I was tempted because I was frustrated. I wanted to get it done. But there's only one way to do it, and that's double check. Double check that you're in the right, that you're going to fill in the right area. And by putting the picture back behind the glass, I could see straight away the areas that needed to be filled in that I was unsure about. So now I'm satisfied that I can proceed without too much panic. I'm not being quite as worried about the tiniest little bits of hair lines in that area. Because some of them are very, very small. I've noticed how much my glass is moving around, and normally I have it wedged in quite tight. It's quite interesting. I had not even noticed. Now you can see I'm bringing that hairline down so it virtually joins at the top, because it was quite far apart, so that would have looked a little bit silly in the long run. I could have got a larger diamond, but I still think this little one did the job perfectly, even for the hair. Actually, looking at that bottom lip now, I think it's all right. It's almost like a tiny little shine of lip gloss on the bottom lip, and that will be fine. His attention to detail was fantastic, even the little earrings. I've got the larger diamond again, and I just wanted to smooth out a couple of areas. And also this one is quite a nice sharp one, so I just wanted to go over again. It just brightened up, almost like a little highlight on the cheek, highlight on the hair. This might have been a different burr actually that was newer. So there we have it. I hope you enjoyed that. I certainly did. Great fun. Adding a signature on the back. And the year. I must mention at this point that most cartoons out there have got copyright. So if you're going to engrave a cartoon and sell it, make up the cartoon yourself or get permission from whoever's drawn it. But if it is a Disney or something like that, as a professional, I definitely would advise against engraving those cartoons and selling them. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care and bye for now.